Choosing your first spawn point is the most essential thing in every MMO game. It's a place that you're going to grind, meet new people, and also experience the game. Now, how is it like out here in China? Welcome to Soul Quest. Today, we're going to talk about where is the best district in Shenzhen for you. This is not the official term for it, but this is based off my experience and the term that I created up out of my own butt. And that is the business district, the residential district, and the frontier. What I mean by frontier, it doesn't mean it's gonna be like, oh, the Wild West, there's no one out here. But nah, it's gonna be one of those times where it's further away from the heart of the city, and it's gonna be harder for you to meet with your friends. Of course, you can find cheap apartments out here, like 1,000 renminbi, even as low as 700 renminbi per month. But it does come with a cost, and that is your sanity. The main reason why a lot of expats out there have a sour outlook in China is because they don't have the perfect apartment or perfect place to live, based off my experience. So to simplify everything as well, I'm going to talk about the cost of living for one person. And if you are living with a partner or with a roommate, just double that by 2. Let's start with our first district, and that is Futian. This district holds a special place in my heart because this is the first district I got lost in. I remember I was crossing the bridges and going under tunnel, and I'm not sure where the hell I'm going, and I ended up getting lost, being late for my work for around like 45 minutes. It was ridiculous, but to only realize I was walking through the same tunnel 3 times already. This whole district started in the 90s because of the special economic zone, and because of this, there was a rapid urbanization going on. Everybody started living here, everybody started making business out here. It was great, and now here we are. How is Futian like? So Futian is one of the most fanciest mansion place. You can find Gucci, Prada, Bugatti, all this stuff right here being sold. And even they have a Bentley store. It's really, really fancy. If y'all don't really care too much about the whole fancy smashy stuff, I would recommend y'all go to Lianhuashan, one of the most beautiful park out there in the Futian district, just because it reminds me of Octopath Traveler. In the weekends, they have Xinjiang people dancing beneath the mountain. And also you have a lot of people playing kites. It just feels like a true adventure. But if you're up to the challenge, go up the mountain. Well, technically, it's not really a mountain. It's more like a hill for around 20 to 30 minutes. And you're greeted with an amazing view of Shenzhen. You can see the whole skyline of Shenzhen. Take a picture, selfie, anything you want. Especially nowadays, the sky is clear. It's a perfect time to go. But not only that, you can also take a picture with Deng Xiaoping as well. It's one of the person that helped out with the whole growth of Shenzhen. If you're feeling a bit hungry after all that hiking, you can go down the mountain and all the way to the convention exhibition center. If you feel a bit more energized after eating all that food, you're all well rested, and you're under 30 and your hip is still intact, unlike me, then you can go partying at the local Coco Park. And this is the best place for you to party because this is a cluster of bar, clubs, and all you name it, you know, all the young and stuff, and you can have fun until the early morning, maybe hell, even the next day. Now, this is a great transition to our next topic. The pros of this place is that it's one of the best places out there if you are more of an outdoorish person and you want that life. You want that outside life, party, shopping, or events in general. Futian is the best place for you. But it does come with a downside, and that is the cost of living might be a bit high. So I did mention earlier, all the apartment costs should be about the same. But if you live in the business district like Futian, your apartment should be a lot smaller with the same amount of money in any other district. I think you're greeted with about like 25 square meter, even as low as 23 square meter up to 35 square meter apartments. And a lot of the apartments in this area for the cheaper prices, cheaper low-end prices, doesn't even have windows. One of my intake group even have an apartment with no window at all, and it was misery for him throughout the whole year. Now, talking about apartments, the prices of like a 1 studio bedroom, I think it's about like 3,400. Maybe nowadays should be around 3,500, depending on the situation. Now, if you want more of a spacious area, I would say that's about like 4,200. And it's going to be quite pricey for the room that you're going to be paying for. The other thing that's going to vary your budget is eating out. When it comes to eating out in this district, it's going to be a lot more expensive in comparison to other districts because this is where all the fancy food is at. And I think the cost of living or the cost of the rents for the certain places is a lot more expensive. So they get to upcharge on that as well. Now, for our next district will be Luohu. It's one of the older districts out there that also experienced the big boom with the SEZ, the Special Economic Zone. And also, it is close to Hong Kong. It's known for their Luohu port. And there's a lot of jewel trade going on in there as well. And the most Instagrammable place will be Dongmen. This is a place where you can find all the weird food you can imagine. fried scorpion, worm, crickets, or maybe a lamb ball. It's not really a ball, but it looks like a testicle from a cow's stomach or a lamb's stomach. I'm not sure, but it tastes goddamn delicious. And this is where you get to taste every kind of cuisine that you probably imagine. And there's also a buffet in this area. Big arcades, jewelry, anything you name it for touristy. And it's all in here, all in one crack place called Dongmen. But if you're more on the nature side, I would recommend y'all go to Xiangminghu, which is like a botanical garden full of like wildlife. Is absolutely gorgeous, especially if you come there during the correct season. You can see like these lily pads. It's the best place for Instagram. But if you're more of like a hiker, you can go to Wutongshan, hike up there. You can see the view of Shenzhen. It's goddamn amazing. But even better, 2 months ago, they have a station going straight to Wutongshan, which makes it a lot more convenient for a lot of tourists out there. Apartments here are going to be a lot more cheaper. And if you do work in Futian, I would say live in this area instead, because with the same amount of money, you can get bigger apartments in this certain area. I would say Luohu is like a half and half a residential area and have like a business district. So apartments should be a lot more cheaper around this area. Now for a 1-bedroom studio, I would say you're looking about like 3,400. It's a lot less compared to Futian. And if you go further more toward the east side, it's going to be a lot more cheaper. And for the next district will be Nanshan, the home of all expat. I would say if you have homesickness, then you just got to hit up Nanshan, and that's about it. It's gonna cure your homesickness, and you can stay in China a bit longer. And reason why, because this is where most expat reside in. I think it's just near the harbor, and also there's gonna be a lot more Western food in this area, Western bar for you to chill at as well. And you just feel like you're back at home again if you're in Nanshan. It's a great place to live. Nanshan is one of the fastest growing districts out there. Like every week, there's always new events and new places to explore. Like a good example would be this river right here. Right now, they're trying to construct it, and maybe around 1-2 months it's going to be finished. Now, this place is known for the technology, nature, and coastal culture. I would say it's one of the more chiller places out there if you do live here. Another known tourist spot will be SeaWorld, OCT, and also Wind of the World. There's more to this, but it's one of the main hub for tourist center when it comes to Shenzhen. It's amazing out here. And even if you don't like touristy places, you can go out to these parks kind of like this. It just feels like it's like an untouched nature. It's amazing. That is the downside to this, and that is tourist spot. I would say Nanshan is the major hub for all tourist spot, which means your cost of living is going to be a bit more pricier if you do live in the Nanshan center, especially if you're near SeaWorld. Man, it's going to be goddamn expensive. Now, when it comes to apartment, I would say the price should be a bit similar to Futian. You can find a lot cheaper apartments if you go towards the older building. Now, if you're looking for a modern 1 studio bedroom, it's about 3,600. If you're looking over more in the old style building, should be a bit cheaper, knocking off by 300, 3,300, so like that. Now, but for food, I would say it's like a half and half out here, just because if you go towards the SeaWorld area, yes, food will be a lot more expensive. But if you go towards the Bao'an area, which is north of Nanshan, food will be drastically cheaper, maybe even like 50%, 75%, a lot cheaper comparison to the north side of Nanshan, because it's near more the residential area, which is Bao'an. Now, I would say Nanshan is more like a half and half district. A lot of business out here, but also some residential areas which people can reside in. Hey there, it's Soul Quest from the future, and I've made some changes towards this video because there's so many information. It went past over 20 minutes and no one got the time to sit down and consume information just for 20 minutes straight. So my idea is to split this video into 3 sections, and I'm going to upload it week by week basis. That way, it's easy to consume, and I can put more memes into it and more animation. It'll be more entertaining for y'all. To summarize everything, is it worth it to live in the business district? I would say yes and no. If you are working a full 8-hour shift every single day, there's no fluctuation, which means like Monday I work 3 hours, Wednesday I work 5 hours, then yes, it's worth it to live in the business district because you get more time out of your life. Because 8 hour is not truly just 8 hour, because most of the time company offer out 1 hour, 2 hour worth of lunch and sleep time, which adds up to that 8 hour, which means sometimes it could be 9 to 10 hour. But not only that, you do have to wake up in the morning and go back home, which is like mental preparation towards work. Well, that's how I feel like, because you are preparing for work, going to work. Technically it's going to be around 10 to 11 hour worth of work. But if you're going to add more commute time towards your life, that's going to be one hell of a life. You're going to be depressed. And that's the downfall of all expats that do come to China, because they don't take into consideration the lunchtime hour and the transportation hour. Because certain times in China, for example, 5 in the morning, 5 p.m., rush hours, some sort like that, it's going to be tough on a lot of people, because you do have to wait for subways approximately 5-10 minutes because of the amount of people waiting in line. But yeah, that's about it. Take in consideration of your schedule and then make your decision after. And I'll see you guys next week, 8 p.m. on Wednesday. So Quest logging out. Peace.